What's up, guys? So I actually have a full video kind of just going over some of the exercises and the 2 days that I've been doing for kind of assistance work, accessory work with the cube. So I'm really just going to talk about that. It's pretty simple. It's just lower and upper to finish my 2 days off, since I'll finish with, I usually go squat, bench, deadlift, lower, upper. The reason why I do that is because I don't want to do like lower and then my squat day back to back, if that makes sense. So day 5 and day 1 would be like squat, would be like lower body and squat, which would be like a squat. So I figured it's probably a better way to do it. But yeah, essentially it's pretty dang simple. The volume's pretty minimal. Exercises are pretty minimal. What I've been doing, at least this last week, this is how I started DUP. I used to take, I think it started off like 4 sets of 8, 5 sets of 6, 6 sets of 4, and you just kind of rotated that like 3 times a week. That's when I first started DUP. That was the first little cycle I did. So for this week, for this training session, what I did is kind of get some mix up, some higher reps, some medium reps, some whatever reps. I kind of did that same thing. So I went a set of 8 at 70%, which was 295. Yeah, 295. A set of 6, which was 75% at 315. Set of 4 at 80%. You can see this, and then I finished off with 355, which is about 85% of my 1 rep max for 2 plus. I ended up hitting it for 7, which is a pretty dang good PR for me. So I may try to do that for this lower body hypertrophy day, kind of get some more variation in there. Maybe do something just like try to add 5 pounds to each one of those sets every week. It's pretty fun. Another thing I wanted to note, if you watched my previous video, I've talked about how my squats haven't felt incredibly poppy lately, but this day, totally different. All of my sets felt really, really good. I made some very minor changes to my form, especially during this workout. I think this is the 335 for 4, I think that here. Especially during this workout, I was really kind of not widening my stance, but I noticed, I think between 295 and 315, I just had a little bit wider stance, and it felt incredibly better, especially on my knees, which I'm just having like just kind of nagging issues with. It's definitely, there's something wrong with my right knee, but I've even had stuff with my left knee as well. Just kind of like, not that it's something I can't push through, which is kind of irritating, but widening my stance, which probably helps me not track as much over my toes, helps a lot. And one other thing I've been kind of focusing on this workout is tucking my elbows kind of inside my armpits. So instead of having such a flare with my arm angle and tucking them way back, I feel like that sometimes can force me to lean over a little bit more than I need to complete the squat. So kind of a big cue for me is really to tuck my elbows into my armpits and keep my chest high. And that seemed to work really well for me. But that was a great squat day. I believe 355 for 7 is a PR for that rep anyway. So after the squats, I'll typically do some kind of hip thrust, but I felt like trying out glute bridges. So I've never actually tried these before. I didn't like them as much as hip thrusts. I definitely felt them a little bit in my glutes. I only went up to 225. I think I just did 2. I think I did a set at 135 and 2 at 225 just to kind of get the feel down. And then I started to switch to hip thrust because I wasn't feeling it too much. But one adjustment I did make, if you've seen me do hip thrust before in the past, I went with something lower. So this is actually just 2 aerobic steps as opposed to the bench. It's actually quite a bit lower. I would say the bench is probably at least 3 aerobic steps. And I felt like this was a lot better on my glutes. I saw a Brett Contreras video a while ago talking about how a lot of people do on too high of a bench, and their torso angle is like, almost 90 degrees. It's incredible. So he really recommends that your bench or whatever you're using for your contraption be pretty low. So that was my lower hypertrophy day. And then I do some stuff on like a Boso ball and some kind of dynamic abs as well. There's kind of a breakdown of my upper accessory work. Really what I have is 3, I would say, bigger movements. I like to get an incline press right now just because I kind of neglected incline for quite a long time. But made some pretty good progress so far. I've hit this past week I hit, I think, 200 for 5, which you'll see, which is pretty good for me considering I've never really been consistent with incline. I've always been a flat barbell or dumbbell or overhead press or something. kind of stay clear of this exercise because I'm not very good at it, which is not something I recommend. But definitely, like you would assume, the more attention that I give it, putting it first in my workout for upper accessory work really helps me improve. And again, I've been putting on, 5 or even sometimes 10-pound PRs a week there. So really good progress. And I'll usually follow it up with some kind of horizontal row. I kind of jumping on the bandwagon here because this is called a seal row, which I've seen both my client Stephen Hall do and Alberto Nunez do. I was like, what the hell, I'm just kind of finishing out the semester, and this workout, again, my accessory workouts I don't take as seriously as my big 3 at the moment. So I just kind of use it to, if I want to do a new exercise, I'm going to throw it in. And this was something I wanted to try out. Definitely with my deadlifting frequency and more volume than anything, throwing in deficit deadlifts, my lower back is taking a little bit of a toll. So this really helped me out. I felt a crazy pump. Again, it's kind of odd to set up. You have to kind of elevate the bench and whatnot. But yeah, this is called the seal row. Definitely didn't invent this. I've seen this from other people though, and I really liked it. And I usually follow it up with another kind of press. So typically an overhead press, and I'll do some superset stuff of like rear delts and lats. It's kind of like some single arm crap. And then I'll also do some arm stuff. I'm really feeling up to it. So what I've done the past 2 or 3 weeks, just because it's simple and I think it's actually kind of fun a little bit, I've just been throwing in like some rope supersets. So I usually just I'll pick a decent weight, try to hit like 10 to 15 reps. You'll see me kind of switch gears here. 10 to 15 reps in the tricep push down, and then just hook it on the other like low cable and do some curls. Just easy way to pop some of that stuff out. Again, I don't thoroughly enjoy training arms too much, at least by myself. Maybe if I have some buddies to like joke around with and stuff, but it's hard for me to do curls and stuff like that too seriously. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Maybe I'll shoot some of the posterior chain work, the lat stuff that I've been doing, but it's a moto row, which you're not familiar with that. I also got that from Alberto Nunez, and there's like a machine fly. Pretty much what I'm doing here would be the same thing, about 10 to 15 reps on the moto row, switch arms, of course, do the other 10 to 15 reps,
Yeah.
and then bust out the rear delt flies. I'm really only taking like 30 seconds in between those 2 exercises, and I just kind of do that back and forth. It's an efficient way to get a lot of work in. And that kind of throws you guys some mobilizations I did when I was just kind of hanging out with my boy after the workout. I'm really trying to be more consistent, like just 1 to 2 mobilizations after a workout. So I kind of showed you too for your lat and your shoulder that I've been doing, because I have definitely some restrictions there, and it's pretty tight. So these are kind of 2 mobilizations that I've been doing a little bit more consistently and trying to actually put into my routine. I would definitely recommend that people put mobilizations into their routine. That's it for the video, guys. Hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time.